was the guy who I replaced him some months ago, you know, and for some reason still, you know, here in this Zoom meeting still appears his name instead of my name. You know, my name in reality is Joseph Turner, T-O-R-N-E-R, and I have a slightly different job title. I'm a medical doctor, and I am the director of medical applications in Intermedics. Intermedics is a company which was founded more than nearly about 30 years ago, you know, by an engineer who himself developed some of the first CO2 laser systems, you know, in Europe. And together with his wife, who is still, both of them are still on board, have been, you know, the leaders of the development of this company, this middle-sized company, producing different type of lasers, you know, and not only like lasers like the Podylas, but many others for different medical specialties, and who are present not only in the Spanish market, but in different countries in Europe and worldwide. And we are, you know, we are very proud of having also, you know, this foothold, a strong foothold in the pediatrics area, you know, in different countries, and particularly, you know, in UK, as we are today. And we plan to continue to work in this field and to develop new improvements of the system. And we count with an extensive number of good specialists, like Elizabeth Teo, who are, you know, very good users and experts in using this technology for all the pediatrics applications. I don't want to say anything else, just to, you know, to bring our support and to our commitment to continue developing, you know, our products in this field. And we are very happy to sponsor, you know, this training session today. Thank you very much, Hiro.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go on to Elizabeth. Elizabeth's our superstar podiatrist that she has a clinic in Barcelona. She's been using this machine, I think, ever from the start. She's pretty much the leader in how to use this machine as best as it can be used. I've learned off. I've been to see her many times as well, a few times in Barcelona, a few times when she's come over to England as well. And, you know, today she's going to just present the latest technology, latest information about how to use it and how to use it safely. And on top of that, to use it in the right way so that you get the best possible results. You know, we all know lasers are a fantastic tool now. Everyone's into lasers now for some reason. Everyone's buying them. We've obviously been using them for 12, 13 years now. You know, we shout our heads off about it. But I'll get on with let Elizabeth go on to the training. Today, we're going to just go on to the high level training. So this includes pretty much onychomycosis, verrucas, corns and stuff. So anything that uses it. So next week, we're going to try and obviously we're going to do the low level thing. So that's the really interesting part that's been developing more and more recently. So I'll let Elizabeth explain the technology and get on with explaining how the treatment works. And then we'll get from there.
Don't worry, you're all right, you're okay, you're okay.
You're okay. You will.
Hey, what's going on there? Let me mute this person.
It was really easy, huh? It's just a bit popped.
Right, Elizabeth, do you want to go for it?
Okay, hello. Hi, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. And congratulate to everybody who has the Podylas. I think you start a new life in your practices with this machine. I hope it will be with you as it was for me. And okay, as Iran had said, I will speak today about high level. And at the beginning, I want to tell you something about history, very few history, because that was surprising for me when I start to look for information about laser. When does it start? So, investigations about laser start already in the 19th century. Imagine, when we thought that anybody was thinking about light, there was someone thinking about light. And that was at the beginning of the 20th century, that one man called Max Planck discovered that light spread by packets and not by waves. Then Einstein, it's important, Einstein, in everything in physics, he developed the quantum theory and described the photons. But there was a first machine before laser called a maser. Maser was something similar like laser, but the difference were that was a microwave amplification and not a amplification of radiation light. Okay. Then that maser was improved by a man called Towns that man won the Nobel Prize. And there was in 1960 that an important man called Theodor Neumann that developed a machine that was able to produce a red light with a specific wavelength, and it was called laser for the first time in the history. Then, in the same year, another man called Endre Mester, that you will find it in a lot of biography, started to do experiments with light. That light was a red light, and that experiments were about high level. The first surgery were done in the United States, doing a surgery, an ophthalmic surgery in the 60 years, 1961. And the physiotherapists started to use laser in about already 1960, and we started about 2012, 2011, 2012. Okay, I started in 2012 in Spain. We start, I remember in 2012, at the end of the 2012, I don't remember even if you know it, but we start close to that dates. And it was the beginning of a new change in our practices, because laser gave us another way to treat things that without laser we cannot do it. I will tell you slowly, okay, later. So the laser has some compound materials that, when are excited by an electrical current, produces radiation, okay? That materials are these ones that you can read it. And our laser is the NG Yang. It means all this horrible thing that you can read it, but this is our laser, okay? And you have to know that when we use laser, we have different effects. We have direct effects and indirect effects, or primaries or secondaries effects, okay? I will tell you better and slowly the next week when we will speak about low level. But what is light? Wait a little bit, but I will do it like this, it's nicer. Okay, light is an electromagnetic wave, a particle, or both at once. It's that, both at once are two things at the same time. And I will tell you about the characteristics of the red laser light, because I think it's important you to know it. When we know what have we in our hands, it's better and easier to use it correctly, okay? So laser, at the difference of normal light, has a characteristic called coherence. It means that all the waves have the same frequency and the same wavelength, as in the picture. You see the picture of your left, you have an incoherence light. You see different wavelengths, this red, this blue, this green, a difference between them. But the laser light have the same wavelengths, and all that wavelengths have the same frequency, okay? So the wavelengths gave us the penetration. As the higher is the wavelength, more penetrations we will obtain, okay? So you can find another lasers with another wavelength, with a very lower wavelength, and they haven't the same penetration than our laser, okay? Also, laser have another characteristic that is a monochromatic light. Every laser, every wavelength gave us a different light. Our laser gave us a red light, okay? Lasers can reproduce different colors, but our one reproduce the red light. It's for this reason that we called infrared. And that directionally, it means that we can decide where can we put our laser, because laser goes only in one direction. When we have a bulb light, imagine, this light goes in every directions, and you cannot decide where can you put that light. But with our laser, we can do it because of this characteristic, okay? Then we have different parameters, and it's also important you to know what does it mean to. For example, it's important to know what is an earth. One earth is applied in physics to count how many times one wave is repeated in 1 second, as in the picture. You see my mouse? Did you see my mouse? Okay, yes? This is 1 cycle of a wave. I spend 1 second to do 1 cycle, and it means I'm working with on earth. If I work with 2 earths, it means I do 2 cycles in 1 second, okay? So it means I go faster. It's important you to know it when we work with onychomycosis, that the parameters we will use it are 1 earth always, okay? Sometimes I will explain you later too. We want to go faster, and we use 2 earth to treat onychomycosis, but it means you will go faster. It's necessary. You will spend 1 second to do all this way to obtain a good effect, okay? A good consequence. So then there is another parameter called spot. The spot defines the impact area. In high level, we work with a spot of 3 millimeters. When we will work with a low level, we will work with a different spot. We change it, and this spot will be of 11 millimeters. But now today, we will speak always, all the time, with a spot of 3 millimeters, okay? The fluency is the energy that we will apply in 1 centimeter square. You will see later when I will speak about different parameters that we will speak about different fluencies, and you have to know what are you speaking about. The pulse is the time that laser is touching the skin, okay? For example, when we will speak about 500 milliseconds of pulse, it means that laser is touching the skin for a half a second, okay? This is the highest pulse that we will work, but it's important you to know what does it mean, because it means that laser is touching the skin for a half a second. And the pause is the time you wait. You are waiting between shoot and shoot. Our machine, you can change the pause, and you can change from 1 second until 3 seconds. I like to wait a little bit more and to do higher pauses, and you will see why then later, okay? Okay, if you see this picture, here we have the visible spectrum, okay? When we work with laser, we work here, okay? We are in an infrared spectrum, and it's in the opposite side of this spectrum. It means that we're working here, and our light is not an ionisant light. This one is ionisant, this one not, okay? And it's important because sometimes people ask us, Sometimes people is afraid or they have curiosity, or no. And what about this kind of light? And this kind of light is on the opposite side of the X-rays or gamma rays, you know. And why does we work with 100 millisecond, 164 nanometers with our wavelength? It means this is the place where we work. This is our wavelength. It means that the target of lasers are water, melanin, oxyhemoglobin, okay? And when we work in this zone, it means that our chromophore, we will do less damage to the tissue working with this wavelength than if we work with another wavelengths as 500, 600, I don't know how many how many there are, but there are a lot of wavelengths down of ours, and they have more affinity for these chromophores, I mean, you know. And if we work with these ones, it means that we will do more damage to the tissue, and with our wavelengths we don't. Okay, once explained all these basically things, what kind of treatments can we do with laser? We can do treatments of high level and low level. The difference between both, it means that when we work with high level, we will obtain a thermic effect on the tissue, because we will work with a very high powerful, okay? When we work with low level, the power that we will use, it's lower, and the effect in the tissue that we will obtain, it will be a biostimulative effect. So today we will speak about it. We will to treat warts, corns, and onychomycosis, and we work between 30 or 40 watts, it depending of what will we use. So when we work warts or corns, we will use 30 watts, and we will work with onychomycosis, we can use both. I would like to explain you this picture because I think it's important to understand the next picture you will see later. When we work with warts or corns, we will use the 3 millimeters spot, and we will use 30 watts always, and there is no change in these parameters. We will always use these ones, and it's very important not overlap the spot areas, okay? Why? Because imagine this is the spot area of our laser, and we apply laser, the light here. Just in the center, we produce an effect called vaporization, vaporation? Not center, Jaume.
Vaporization.
It's
Okay.
vaporization. Basically, you're going to destroy the tissue.
Vaporization, okay. Then, close to that zone, we will obtain an unreversible process called coagulation. This is an unreversible coagulation. Close to that unreversible coagulation, there is a tissular coagulation, but it's reversible. And close to that zone, there is an hyperthermia zone. So I explained you before that laser has only one direction. It's true, but the hot goes close to the zone that we are treating, okay? And you have to know what happened just close to the zone that we are treating, okay? So if we overlap that spot areas in this zone, we will produce more damage, okay? You understand? It's understood? So I want you to know, wait, I don't know if you see correctly. Okay, yeah. I don't know what to do with it.
What do you need to do?
Do you see all my presentation?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Okay, I want to tell you about this this picture. I said that when we treat corns and warts, we will work always with 30 watts. We never change it. We will work with a spot of 3 millimeters. We never change it, but we can change the pulse. Remember that the pulse is the milliseconds, the time that laser is touching the skin, okay? Usually, we will speak about the maximum of the maximum parameters, the maximum of pulse, the maximum of fluency, the shoots, okay? And those are the maximum of parameters. And we never will work with a higher parameters than this, okay? So imagine that we want to treat a corn or a wart, and we use this parameter. It means we will use a pulse of 500 milliseconds. When we use it, we will apply this energy in every centimeter square, in every spot area, okay? If we do 8 shoots at the end of the treatment, we will have used or applied 118 joules in that zone, okay? It's easy, okay? So imagine that patients feel pain because laser is touching the skin for a long time. It's a half a second, okay? And the patient feels pain, and you don't want the patient feels pain. So you can use a lower pulse. You can low and low and low and low as and you go lower, but you have to know that if you use a lower pulse, the fluency also will be lower, okay? If we do 8 shoots with this pulse, we will obtain a different energy at the end of the treatment. If we want the same energy than here, we will have to increase the number of shoots. It's understanding, it's well understood, it's okay. So usually in adults, we use these parameters, 500 milliseconds, and we do as maximum 8 shoots in every spot area. And in that spot area, at the end of the treatment, we will have applied 118 joules. Okay, so if we treat a children, in children, usually I use this one. Here is rated 250, but you can use it. It depending of the age of the children, and you have to know that the children have a thinner skin than adults. And also it depends the zone that you will go to treat. Maybe you are treating, I don't know, a corn in a toe, and the skin in that zone is thinner than a corner in the plantar zone, you know? So you have to adapt these parameters to the zone, to the patient, or to the characteristics of the patient, depending of the pain that that patient is feeling, okay? So you have to know always that if you use a lower pulse, usually you have to increase the number of shoots to obtain the same energy at the end of the treatment, okay? But there is another thing very important. You have to see with your eyes what is happening in that tissue while you are doing the treatment. You will see later some pictures and you will understand what I'm explaining. So here you have different pictures of different changes of the fluency depending of the patient. For example, here is used for children, maybe. I've treated, I think the children, I've treated children of 4 years old, okay? In this kind of babies, because they are more close to babies than children, I use maybe a lower parameters, but it depends of the patient. Some patients feel it good, and sometimes children doesn't feel a lot of pain. You the question is that you have to do a very great pauses. You see here a pause of 3 seconds. If you increase the pause, you can treat the children with this pulse, okay? You can use these parameters of the middle of the center of the image with hypersensitive patients. Sometimes adults feel pain, and it doesn't matter. You can lower the pulse, but you will do more shoots. But you have to see what is happening there, okay? And with adults, usually we use these parameters. And always, you see, we work with 30 watts all the time. This is not change. So I will speak about how can we treat it. How can we treat warts? There is two options. Without anesthesia, and when we don't use anesthesia, we have to do something because patient doesn't feel pain. And we use a frozen balloon. I'm sorry, there is a frozen balloon. It means that we will use the balloon before every shoot. And you will spend between shoot and shoot that zone will be red and the patient will be very, very cold, okay? And usually it's a very good option. I use it usually, but also you can use it with anesthesia. You can treat, you can use laser with anesthesia, but when you use anesthesia, it's very easy for the podiatrist that as the patient doesn't feel pain, I go shooting a lot of times, and then I can produce a very big damage. So for to don't have this problem, you have never exceed the maximum of dose that I spoke before. Do you remember? It's very, very important if you use anesthesia. So I like the first option. Usually I use this one. Okay, when we have a wart, we have to eliminate the hyperkeratosis at the beginning, and we have to paint the lesion in black. We use something like this, okay? Because it works like a target. The target of our laser is blood, but we don't want to do blood because to do blood is painful. So we paint it, and we obtain that from the first shoot, the laser starts to begin, okay? I'm sorry, if I don't explain correctly or you have any question, you can ask me, okay? Irene, I don't hear you. No, doesn't matter. I will continue, and at the end, everybody ask, okay?
You mute your mic, okay.
Elizabeth,
Yes,
can I ask a question?
there is one question.
Yeah, what do you paint the warts with?
Why?
What do you paint them with?
What or why? I don't understand.
We use ink. So normally you can get like,
¿Con qué lo pintas, Elizabeth? Con el
With-
charcot ese, ¿no? Puedes usar.
Yes, you have to use a black paint. It must to be black, not blue, for example, okay? Because when you use one paint in black, it works like a target, okay? It means that from the first shoot, laser starts to work correctly. If you don't, it's necessary to produce blood, and this blood will work like a target, but we don't want it. So we engañamos.
Yes, I understand. Thank you.
Yes, it's like a joke to the tissue, okay? And when we work with warts, always we paint it, okay? Always. And we will use a frozen balloon before every shoot, before and after, you know, until produce something like a crater, okay? You will see pictures later. And this is what I asked, I told you before. If we do 8 shoots, we will work with 500 milliseconds and 30 watts, and we applied 240 joules in every centimeter square. If we do less shoots, we have to increase the number of shoots to obtain the same energy at the end, okay? So we will control to that patient 15 days later, okay? And then patient have cures at home or not. No, it's not necessary to do a lot of cures. We will put an antiseptic and download the pressure if it's necessary, depending of where is the ward. Maybe if the ward is in a zone of pressure, you have to treat that pressure, okay? The average of sessions usually is 4. It doesn't mean you have to explain to the patient that you will use 4 sessions, because it's not sure, okay? It's an average of sessions. Sometimes you will use 1 session, sometimes you will need 4, 5, 6, 3, 2, you don't know, okay? And it's difficult to say to the patient how many sessions you will need to treat or to cure that, that word. It's sure that there is no residual pain. And if it exists, it's only for a short time. Patients feels that something had happened there, okay? But it's not called pain usually. Parameters can be adjusted to the patient, to the characteristics, zone, age, it depends. And you can use another treatments at the same time with laser. Sometimes when you have a very difficult ward and you are using a lot of sessions of laser and those are expensive, you can change it with another treatments. As here, for example, we use a chemical treatment, a very low chemical treatment that patient can apply at home, and you control it, okay? But if you use it, for example, I explain to my patients that 1 day before and 1 day later, they don't use it, okay? And always, of course, never exceed the maximum of dose that we recommend this is for don't damage more that we want that lesion, okay? So here you have all the sequence of the treatment. You have the pain, you have to pain the zone. We use a frozen balloon. And at the end of the treatment, you see my mouse, you will have one lesion like this. We applied an antiseptic and we treat the pressure zone if it's necessary, okay? So now you will see a lot of pictures because I want you to see how is it at the end of the treatment, okay? When you finish the treatment, what happened with the tissue? Here you see one spot area, another one, and here something, you don't know what is it. Is it well applied? No, because here the spot area is overlapping, okay? In this case, this is a patient of mine, and in this case, I didn't have any problem. This is a very difficult zone to treat, and usually it's painful for the patient, and usually it's difficult to produce a crater, okay? So you have to apply a lot of shoots in that zone. In this patient, I did 8 shoots in every spot area. Sometimes you will see that it's difficult to do a crater, and sometimes you will see that it's very easy to do a crater. It depending on the skin, okay, and it depends on the zone. But when it will be cured, you see that there isn't any sign of wart in that zone, okay? Here you have the sequence. This picture is not very high quality, but here you can see the verruca, how it's treated, and at the end, when it's cured. Another kind, here you see 2 spot areas, and in the middle is a bit overlapping. And do you see what's at the end of the hole? Okay, you cannot go deeper than here. Okay, this is the maximum that you can do. And another important thing, here you have, imagine you have a wart and it's a little bit higher than our spot area. What can we do? If we use only one spot area, we have wart around our spot area. So it's better don't overlapping and going out of the lesion. Doesn't matter. It's no problem. Okay, understood? Here you have another sequence of treatment. The first time the patient comes, we start to treat. When patient comes 15 days later, we delaminate the zone and we see that continues being verruca. We treat again, and 15 days to 15 days, we will see that at the end there is nothing there. Okay. More pictures. And in this case, this picture is treated with both treatments at the same time, with laser and with chemical treatment. Okay. And you have to control and to explain exactly how does patient have to do it at home. Okay, I show you this picture because here in Spain, there is another podiatrist who's explained another way to treat warts. If you want, I explain you, but I don't use it because this is a picture of mine. It's easier to produce an ulcer next to the treatment. And you have to be very, very, you have to treat it very close to the wart. I explain. Okay, we have a wart. Okay, it means you delaminate, and it's necessary to apply just under the wart a little bit of anesthesia. Okay, but very few anesthesia. When you had done it with a scalpel, you get it out. But with the scalpel, you have to go very, very close to the wart. And then you have this lesion, not this one, okay? This lesion. This technique or this kind of treatment can be used only with very little warts, and never in children and never in old people with systemic diseases, okay? I don't like it, but I explain you because it's nice you to see, you to know it. Okay, more pictures. Now you see, you have a wart here. Well, you have one lesion here, another one here, and another one here, and one spot area, 2, 3, and 4. And this picture is taken not in front of the patient. It's an axial picture, you know, because I want you to see how deeper is this lesion, this crater, okay? And at the end of the crater, do you see this tissue? It's more red, okay? You have to arrive until here, not more deeper, okay? And here you have 2 spot areas without overlapping. More pictures. This is a big crater, you know. Patient feels something happen there, but not pain. And I like to explain this case. This is a girl of, I remember, I think she was 11 years old. She was going to the school, but she had this lesion and she couldn't to walk correctly. So it produces pain, back pain to the girl, okay? And the doctor wanted to make a surgery to the back of that girl. And at the end, the problem was an important wart in the rear foot. I treated, we use only 2 sessions, only 2. And at the end of the treatment, there is nothing there. And the girl from the first session started to walk correctly. Of course, as she had pain here, I treat the pressure too, okay? You can use it, for example, in these cases, I explain you this one. You have an onychocryptosis. I don't know if in English it's called like this, but we have this lesion here. Okay, I apply laser, I produce this reaction there, and 15 days later, the tissue is correct there. And when time is going, this one will be better than in that picture. Or maybe in a corn close to the nail. In that case, that woman had a lot of pain. So, okay, I don't enucleate, I don't eliminate. With scalpel, I use laser, don't worry. And at the end, she didn't have any kind of lesion 15 days later. So after the laser treatment, what can happen? Can be pain, yeah, but very few times. And if there is pain, it it's for a few times. Some has too much with people who works in restaurants, for example, or people who is stand up for a long time. Maybe they can have pain, so you have to treat the pressure as in the picture. It may bleed, yes, but it's not usual, okay? And don't worry, it's not a problem. It means that you crushed a vessel. Don't worry, you make a little bit of pressure and that's all. If it's more necessary to do more than 4 sessions, you can treat with another treatments at the same time, and you have to be careful and assess the general condition of the patient, and always, of course, if it's necessary, to treat the pressure. Okay, now you have some pictures of real patients of mine, and here you see the frozen balloon. And when we paint, we have this reaction. There is a smoke that smells very bad. And between shoot and shoot, this is on a real time, okay? I put the frozen balloon and then the laser. Do you see the crater and the smoke, okay? And it smells very, very ugly. I don't like it. Okay. Do you see the 2 craters we had done? Okay, and this is the deeper that we arrive. Okay, this is another. This is not a patient of mine, but I like to show you this video because you can see fire. Do you see it? This is a patient of a podiatrist of here in Spain. When you, she says she's working 250 milliseconds of pulse and without anesthesia. The lesion is only pinted, and she starts to shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot. This is not a word. This is a scare, I think. Okay, no, es una. ¿Cómo se llama en español?
Okay.
This is a word treated a lot of times, okay? And
Una
now
cicatriz. Una cicatriz, scar.
no es una scar.
Es un queloide,
No.
¿no?
When you have a word, you have a patient who comes to you and he said I have a word, but a lot of people had treated before. At the end, there is not a word. There is another lesion that it's painful and you can treat it with laser. Okay, but it's not a word. It has a name, but I don't remember neither in English and neither in Spanish. When I remember, I tell you. But you can treat it also with laser. Okay, if you use the laser and you see fire, okay, it means that you had put a lot of pain. Okay, and that pain starts to burn, and it's not good. Okay, you have to dry this zone of this exit of pain, okay, of paint. Okay, another video of mine, a patient of mine. This patient have 2 lesions. This is a wart, and here we have a corn. Later we will see it. See the hands of the patient. He's absolutely relaxed. I use the frozen balloon, I dry, and I apply the laser. In this case, to shoot, she's very hard. Usually we use we use 1 shoot, and we apply the frozen balloon. It's not usually, but you can do it. You can apply 2 shoots in one time, and later you apply the frozen balloon. It depends of how the patient feels the treatment. It's nice, okay? Okay, continues. So when we treat corns, we have a bit differences, and I want to show you. We have
Sorry, Elizabeth.
Yes.
Can I ask you something? Can
Yes.
you use the laser on hands, on verrucas on the hands?
Yes, but you are podiatrist.
I know.
But here in
Yes, you
England, we
can.
are allowed to
Oh, we are
use-
allowed to.
in England, we treat also fat.
Yeah, you can. But
Yeah.
you use it with the same way using as in the food. Okay, you have to
Okay.
paint, you have to delaminate and paint, and usually it's easier because in the food when you walk, that word goes into the skin, and in the hand the verruca is exogenous. It goes out. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the corns, usually we work, you can work it or you can treat it equal that a verruca, but also we can do a little change, a big change. Okay, I explain. We can paint the corn, and you can use it with anesthesia or not. If you paint, or you can use frozen balloon as with the corn. Sorry, as with the wort. If we use with anesthesia, don't exceed the maximum of those, but you also can use it like this without painting, but careful. Be careful using this option. Okay. I tell you why. Sorry. Okay. Of these two options, I like this one, but this is my option. Okay. And I explain you because I like a lot, but you have to be really, really careful. Okay. And absolutely never in your life exceed the maximum of those. And later you will see why. When you do like this, you have to eliminate the hyperkeratosis. You can paint the lesion. Here corn is rated word. You paint the corn in black or not. I like this one. There are two options. You can paint or not paint. Okay. We will use the frozen balloon always. Independence if you use this option or this one. The frozen balloon is used always if you don't anesthetize. Okay. But, and here is the difference. If we don't paint, at the end of the treatment, there must be no change over the corn. Okay? It's understood and well understood. If we paint, we will use antiseptic care as with the words. If we don't paint, we do nothing more. Okay? I like more this option because usually patients feel absolutely nothing at the end of the treatment. When we paint, patient feels that something had happened there. Okay? But remember that corns appears for something, and usually appears because there is an increase of pressure in that zone, and we have to treat it always at the beginning of the session. I never treat a corn if I never treat a corn if I don't treat the pressure before, and I have to explain to the patient. You have to do it. Okay. So it's right here. Download the pressure of that area is priority. And also we control every 15 days. Okay? Yes? So you have some pictures here. Those are patients of mine. And I will tell you if I treat without paint or painting. Okay? This one is without painting. Here we have a very important corn in the plantar zone. This zone, I used 4 spot areas. At the end of the treatment, this zone is absolutely equal that at the beginning. It must be no change. It's very important. If you see any change, ask. If at the end of the treatment you see this zone white, you have a problem. Okay, it means that you had exceeded the number of shoots and the energy of that you had used at the end of the treatment. So how can you use? How can you know, Stephen? Yes.
Yeah. So you're saying you don't want to see any change in the appearance after the application if you don't use the ink.
No change.
Okay.
Any change.
No, that's perfect.
It's absolutely important you understand it. Okay. If you see a change, like imagine that you, at the end of the treatment, there with the patient with you, you see that that zone is white, you have a problem.
Yeah.
And this problem, you will see what happened later. Okay.
Okay. Perfect.
But at the end, you have to see any change. The only change that you see is the sensation of the patient that he feels better. Okay. Okay. I tell you, in that kind of turns, sorry. In that kind of corns, I applied as maximum in that kind, you see? This is a plantar corn with a fibrotic tissue at the end of the corn, okay? Do you understand? Stefan, you have a very strange face. Do you understand me?
My internet isn't great.
Sorry?
The internet isn't fantastic, but I can hear you.
Okay. In the corns with that characteristics, I apply as maximum 8 shoots in every spot area and never overlap. Okay, as with words. Imagine that we haven't this corn and we have a simple corn without fibrotic tissue at the end. You don't have to apply 8 shoots. You have to apply less shoots, maybe 5. Okay, because if you apply 8, you will do applying a lot of energy, more than this lesion needs. Okay, and you have to change the number of shoots or maybe the pulse. For example, here in this picture, we have a corn between toes in that zone. Do you see my hand? Here this is a very special zone because we have a very thin skin, and close to the skin there is bone. Okay, I had seen a tendon on the air because laser had been not well applied there. Be careful, okay? But if you do it correctly, there is no problem. You delaminate, you see the fibrotic tissue, but the zone is very, very, be careful with that zone. So here, I apply not more than 3 shoots, and I low the pulse too. I don't use 500 milliseconds. I use 250. Do you understand how can you change the parameters depending of the kind of the lesion and where is the lesion? Okay, it's very important. And if you use this option without painting, you have to be more carefully. Okay. This is one of my beginnings. Here we didn't use frozen balloon. We didn't discover it in that years, and we was using anesthetic, topical anesthetic, but it doesn't work very good because patients felt pain. But this kind of corns, it's important that patient will use some kind of orthotic, and it appears again depending that patient is using orthotic too. But you can treat and you can retreat again. For example, you can do one treatment 1 time a year. Okay, you treat, patient feels better. Okay, the corn becomes better as in the picture. Here you have fibrotic tissue. Do you see my mouse? And at the end of the treatment, 15 days later, you have a simple corn, or maybe you have nothing. But these kinds of corns appear again with the time. And maybe 1 year later or some month, I don't know, you can retreat again. Okay. This is another patient treated without painting. Both are treated without painting. And here you have more different zones in different places. Here in the plantar zone, this is in the 5-2. And for example, here you have neurovascular corn. This is painful because of the, you have endings of nerves in that zone. And this is because these kind of lesions are very painful. Here you can use anesthesia, but never use more than 8 shoots in every spot area. And usually it works better if you paint. Okay. So this is a patient of mine. I needed a lot of sessions in this case because there was a cavus foot. I don't know if it's correct the word in English. I need 8 sessions with this patient, but it's absolutely important to use an orthotic to treat that kind of lesions. Okay, first the orthotic and later the laser. Never change the order. Okay, because the results will not appear. Another patient with a lot of sessions, I think 6 or 8, I don't remember. That was very, very painful. And in that patient, I combined the 2 options, paint and without painting, depending of how was the patient. Okay. More pictures. The patient comes like this. I apply laser. At the end of the session, the lesion, there is no change. And I see the change 15 days later. Okay. Do you understand? The change you will see when the days is going. Okay. But not in the same day of the laser session. This one is treated painting. Okay. No problem. One thing, when you have a corn and you don't, you aren't sure if it's corn or wart, because sometimes you have corns, but you think that maybe it's a wart. If you don't know it, treat always painting. Okay, because you will never treat a wart without paint. All warts must be painted. Okay. This is another case of miliar corns. I don't know if it's correct in English. Are those patients who has a lot of corns in the foot, and a lot of them are not painful, but sometimes are so vigorous that patients feels pain. And in that case, I treated with laser, but there was a lot of them. And in that case, I used anesthesia without painting. But here, do you see the last picture? We can have this problem. At the end of the treatment, do you see it's white? Okay, that was my beginnings. For this reason, I explain you, okay? This lesion is white. In this case, as patient was with anesthesia, I started to shoot. I wanted to go faster, and I didn't went faster because patient phoned me some days later explaining me that he had a lot of pain in that zones that I treat with laser. And that zones were with this color. And when patient come to the practice, I delaminate, and under that skin, there was little ulcers everywhere. Okay, it means that you have changed here and you had applied more energy than it's necessary. Okay, in these corns, you have to apply 3 shoots as more, not too much. It's better that patient will come back more times to the practice than want to run a lot and then you produce the match. Okay. Okay. This is another patient. I don't know what is it. This is a very special patient that patient was very close to die because an infiltration, okay? And she had to do a very important surgery in that zone of her foot. But here also the doctors did an infiltration, and at the end she had this lesion, and she felt pain there. As I didn't know what it was, I didn't want to use laser in that occasion. But patient feels a lot of pain, and I decided to do it very carefully, okay? Because that patient was close to die, because another doctor had a problem, okay? And I didn't want to do it horrible. I wanted to do it very, very good. And I was very careful in that case. I applied laser without painting, and I don't remember, I didn't use the maximum dose, of course. Here I used, I think 4 shoots in every spot area, and I did it only in this zone, okay? And to my surprise, 15 days later, she came like this, and I didn't did any other session. We did only one, and actually, this patient is absolutely wonderful. So I mean that with laser we can do very important things. We can do that patients have a very better life without pain, but we have to be careful and we have to go slowly. It's better that patient will come back again and will spend more money to do another session that wanted to go faster, okay? Oh, sorry, I didn't translate it.
Sorry, Elizabeth.
Yes.
But for the patients who you successfully treat the corns with the laser, how many of them would you give an orthotic? Because obviously it forms due to the pressure in the localized area. And do they come back for routine maintenance, or would you give them an orthotic? They
come back for another thing, or to do another insoles.
Okay.
You have to use insoles, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They come back because the insoles are crushed and you have to change it.
Okay.
Patient doesn't use insoles, that corn reappear again.
Yeah.
It's important to explain to the patient, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
But sometimes we speak about laser, it seems that we apply laser and nothing more. No. Mm-hmm. Laser, around the laser, there is a lot of things that we have to be think, and you have to control. As a podiatrist, you have to explain to your patient, you have corn. Why does this corn appear? Because you have pressure. So firstly, I have to treat that pressure with an insole, mm-hmm. and maybe that corn will change because of the insole. Yeah. But if it don't change, I have another treatment that I can apply. It's called laser. I apply laser, but you have to continue using the insoles, because if you don't use it, that corn reappears. Yeah. For example, I have here in Spain, there is a lot of hot, and patients doesn't want to use sport wear, for example, in summer. Okay, to use insoles in summer is difficult. Okay, because of the hot and the wear that people use. Mm-hmm. And I have patients that decide that in summer they don't use insoles. Okay, you can do it, but mm-hmm. you have to know that you can have lesions. Yeah. Okay, your pain can reappear again. Okay, I have a patient who have a corn, and she says, yes, I know that at the end of the summer, that corn reappeared. Yeah. Okay, I treat again, and I treat every year. You speak with the patient is okay.
As long as they know.
Yes. Okay.
No, that's perfect. Yeah. Nice.
Here, I explained you, I want you to see that the effect, adverse effects. This is an adverse effect of that technique I explained you before, using anesthesia down of the corn. I don't like it, but people use it. And this one is that option of corns that I like without painting, but I used a lot of energy. Do you see? It's white. You see a change. This is not pink, it's white. So it means that I will have this problem. Doesn't matter. You can use laser with low level to treat it, but usually patient doesn't want it, okay? Because say with the same machine, you had made me a damage, and with the same machine, you cure me? Yes, I can, okay? But you have to be careful, okay? Okay, we have different videos because you to see in a real time. This is a corn in the doors of 5.2. I'm sorry, it's very short. You use the frozen balloon and there is no smoke, no change, okay? And here, this is the patient that we saw before treating this wart, okay? The patient was wonderful because had a lot of things to treat with laser, a wart and a corn. Before we saw the wart, now we see the corn. I use the frozen balloon. I don't paint. You see the lesion is not painted. And there is no smoke, no change. See the face, the patient makes me like this, I'm okay. Because doesn't feel pain thanks to the frozen balloon. Okay, I wait and I apply. Never overlapping the spot areas, please. Okay.
Sorry, Elizabeth, just a quick one. Is it every 2 weeks that these sessions are being done?
Sorry?
Are these sessions being done every 2 to 3 weeks? So each time sort of the laser, the appointment intervals, 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Okay, 2 weeks. Okay, thank you.
Okay, do you want to do break? Or we continues? I don't know what time is it. No, can we continues? Yes?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
I love it. Yeah.
Okay. Any question about words or corns?
Can I just ask, what do people do to get rid of the smell or combat it or help in any way?
With the smell?
Yeah. Yeah, the smell, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't put this machine here. Maybe the next week, if I remember, I don't know if I have in another presentation in another. We have a specific machine here that is an ozone machine, you know. And the ozone, it means we use it to clean the shoes, okay? But with this machine, when I start 15 minutes before the laser treatment and I close it 15 minutes later, the practice doesn't smell. And now with COVID, there is also different machines that clears the air in the practices, and it also works very good. But if you want, I will look for the next week that machine. Maybe I can you can look for in Amazon. I don't know. Look for Amazon of ozone to treat shoes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
I will show you the next week if I don't forget.
Okay.
I show you a picture of that machine. Okay.
Thanks.
Any question?
One more question, sir.
More questions. You can do it.
Is there a research paper that shows the success rate of treating verrucas?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Do you have like a success rate on treating verrucas with the Podylas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course. The success you will obtain always if you treat it as I explained.
Okay.
We explain always. We have a protocol. I explain you my protocol and the protocol that we use here in Spain. Okay. So the first thing you have to know in words, you have to paint it. If you don't paint, nothing. Okay. And words also are difficult to treat because sometimes you have to you have to know how does the immunity system of the patient is, okay?
Yeah.
Sometimes you know that words are a lot of times directly relationship, have a relationship with the anemic state, with the what does this patient is living, okay? Or the immunity system of the patient. For this reason, I explain you that words, you can use another treatments, for example, homeopathic treatment, or maybe the patient have to go to the psychologist. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have to explain. I told you that we have laser. Laser is another way that you have to treat the patients, but sometimes it's not the only one.
Yeah.
Okay. And with Verrucae, patient asked me, how many sessions? And I also say, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I will never know, because sometimes it seems that we don't go well, we don't know well, you don't see change, you don't see change. And sometimes in one session, oh, there is no word. Okay. Okay. But it depending of the stress of the patient, a lot of things. Okay.
Yeah.
With words, it's absolutely amazing, because if you treat correctly that pressure who makes that it exists, the results are 100%, 99%, okay, of good results. With Verrucae, the percentage, it's a little lower, but not too much.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. And sometimes it's true that we have patients that we had used, I don't know, maybe 6-10 sessions, but it's not usual. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And sometimes patient feels a lot of pain and they don't want.
Okay.
You have all options.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
More questions?
Can I ask a question, please?
Yes.
I'm a little confused with the black ink. So whenever you treat a wart, you always have black ink. I'm guessing because warts and verrucas bleed easily. That's why. Can you hear me?
Not very well. I hear you as with noise. I don't know.
I've got the fan on. I'll switch the fan on. It's hot today.
I'm sorry, because my English is not very good and I have sometimes problems to understand you.
No worries. I'll speak slowly. I hope that helps. So whenever you treat a wart or a verruca, you always use a black ink. Is that right? But with a corn, you don't have to. Why is that?
A corn?
Yeah.
When I paint it.
Why do you not have to use?
Te ayudo un poco.
¿Por qué decido pintar o no pintar una?
Sí, porque con una verruca lo pintas y por qué con el corn no lo pintas, si hay alguna diferencia. Nada más explicar eso.
Yes, because with wort, we produce a photocoagulation of the vessels. Okay, vessels son vasos, ¿no? Vessels.
The veins, the vessels of the verruca. Yeah.
The vessels who arrive to the wort, we have to coagulate it. If we coagulate it, doesn't arrive oxygen, nutrients to the wort. And this is the way we treat with laser, okay? With corns, it's different because you have on whales. Remember that I explained you that we have some kind of whales. I'm sorry, I have a lot of noise. Do you hear it?
Yeah.
No?
Oh,
wait. No?
You're clear, don't worry.
Okay. There are some kind of corns who have whales and ending, sorry, wait.
Sorry, Hirin, while she's disappeared, so this black ink, where can we buy this from?
Okay. I'm sorry.
You could just buy it from Amazon. It's just called, you just get some Indian ink. Indian ink works really, really well. Chinese ink or Indian ink, you could just get it on Amazon.
Okay, thanks.
It's very, very easy. So I tend to use Chinese ink because I've just had it for ages. But Indian ink works just as well. I think Craig uses Indian ink, says it works really well for him. And with the balloons and stuff, you literally can just fill up a glove, or you can get ready-made ice cubes, just stick them in a glove. Just basically using, that's what Elizabeth means by frozen balloons. Basically, she creates them with her gloves or with whatever. She puts water, puts them in the freezer, you just get these ice cubes. There are different ways of doing it. I'm sure you'll find one way of finding it, whatever works in your clinic. But yeah, it works really well. The frozen aspect is really important with the treatment. Not with onychomycosis, definitely with warts and corns. Also, corns tend to hurt more than verrucas do. Verrucas don't tend to hurt so much, but when you do corns with the laser, without the ink, it seems to hurt a lot more on the patient. So you just got to manage that expectation. But I found that corns work unbelievably well with the laser, especially neurovascular ones. Neurovascular ones literally just turns off the pain. It's incredible. So so I do a lot of neurovascular ones now. But yeah, no, I'll explain. I'll get on to a call later with everyone and explain little small things and stuff. And any questions that Elizabeth can't answer, I'll do them afterwards as well.
Okay. Thank you, Heron.
No worries.
Yeah, understood.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, more questions? No?
Actually, can I ask one more? You know the picture you showed of the onychocryptosis?
Yes.
And you did laser to that. Again, because it's a kind of an open wound, I couldn't see, if you had onychocryptosis with an open wound, would you use the black ink on an open wound?
Yes, you paint.
Okay.
Yeah. In this case, of course, remember that as I explained that the target of our laser is blood. So, or I produce blood, maybe here, I have as blood as I need because laser will works from the first shoot. But if I want it works faster, I paint it. Do you understand? I asked you to your question.
Yeah, I'm still a little confused with this black ink, when to use it, when not to use it, why we need to use it.
I tell you. Our laser, if you apply our laser without paint, to the first shoot, will obtain nothing. But you are treating with high level, okay? Remember that I explained you that with high level, you produce a thermical effect. Very important. The temperature increases a lot in that zone, okay? If you want to control exactly what happened there, it's better you to paint it because you see what happened from the first shoot, because the painting works as a target. So from the first shoot, it starts to burn. Okay.
Let me explain it. Okay, I'll make it really easy for you.
Okay.
So when you're using the laser, right? If you do not use ink, you do not see any damage to the skin. It's like the Swift; it will be underneath the skin. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. So with when you put ink on the skin or the target or whichever you're using, a verruca or corn or whatever, what it creates is damage to the skin directly. So lasers absorb energy with darker surfaces, right? Mm-hmm. So the darker the surface, the more damage you create on the top surface. So when you see the craters that are created with the verrucas, you can see the black vaporization. You see what Elizabeth's going through. So you will only see that black forming when you use ink. You will not see the crater forming when you don't use ink. So you're creating damage. So the laser will absorb and create more damage with black ink than it will do without the ink. However, with corns, you're trying to create damage further deeper into the wound. So therefore, you're trying to reduce the bulk or the scar tissue around the corn. So therefore, sometimes you don't use the ink. So most of the times when I do corns, I do not use ink because it's not necessary, because what we're trying to do is break down the tissue underneath it.
When you don't use ink, you produce a metabolic effect in the cell, okay? And you increase that metabolic process. And one of these changes means that there are a crashing of that fibrotic tissue because of the thermical effect. And also, you produce an increase of collagen tissue, okay? But no more. And it happened because of the increasing of the temperature that you produce when you don't ink, okay? When you ink, you see exactly what are you doing. And it's better for you to control what are you doing, okay? The warts are treated always with ink because you coagulate the endings of the vessels that makes that this wart grow. Do you understand?
Yeah, let's.
Okay, when we treat with high level, we produce a thermical effect, and this thermical effect you can control of different ways. Okay, to treat warts or to be more safely, if you want to treat warts and worms, you can ink it and you see what is happening there. Okay, and it's easier to control. I like to treat without ink, as with like urine, because later patients has less sensation of pain or of, do you know? But the way the thing that you obtain is a little bit different. Okay, you cannot treat a wart without painting because you need to coagulate the vessels who arrive there. Yes?
Yep.
Or not?
No, I understand. Yeah, thank you.
Understand?
Yeah.
Yes? Sure?
Yep, sure. Thank you.
Okay. More questions? Thank you, Eden.
Hi, Elizabeth. Just one question very quickly. Do you have any, after you do the treatment, for the patients at home have to do anything, any dressing or anything? Or
no, when we treat
nothing?
ink, no, depends. When we treat warts and I had pain, I had ink the wart, they have to apply only antiseptic for 2 days, antiseptic cure.
Yeah, the same I do, but no any dressing, no? Because I always ask myself, they need any dressing or protect the skin for a few days or something?
With what I like that patients will use, I don't know the name in English, help me, espadadrapo?
Yeah, like like a tape, yeah. It's the same I use.
Directly to the wart, because the
Okay.
wart goes into the skin, and who is the name? The espadadrapo in English?
Espadadrapo is like a tape, yeah, tape.
Tape,
like
okay.
Puffies or Podylas or something to
You
cover.
can use a, okay, I use, I make that patient will put antiseptic because I want it to be dry, okay? And they use a tape directly to the wart, and they have to change it every day. And when you get it out, you are trying to go out, that this wart goes out. It seems it works, okay? But also, it makes a wall between the wart and the rest of the wart.
Okay. What antiseptic is the best? Because I thought you use Inadine, but you can use other one.
No, I use the antiseptic that you use usually. The way to use antiseptic is because I want that lesion will be dry. Listen, I work in Barcelona. Here we have a temperature very high and very high humidity.
Yeah.
And warts, when there are a lot of humidity, they like it, but we don't like it.
And you want to keep dry. Okay.
You have to keep dry. And I use the antiseptic only to maintain it dry, only for this.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
More questions? Okay. Can we continue with the onychomycosis? Okay. Okay, now you hear me. We start again with the onychomycosis. Okay, when we speak about laser and onychomycosis, a lot of times the patient comes to the practice and asks me, I have fungus and I want you to treat me with laser. And I say, okay, we have to do a little bit things more before the laser treatment. Oh, really? Yes. And it's very important because if we don't do it, the result didn't. It wouldn't be the result that you hope. Okay. So I have. Okay. Wait. Okay. I explain it to the patient because sometimes the patients and the podiatrist usually thinks that it's very simple, but it's not simple. We have to control a lot of things before the onychomycosis treatment with laser. But firstly, I will speak to you about the parameters. This is the parameters with I work. I work with a frequency of 1 Hz. I explained you before. It means that when you are shooting, you do 1 shoot, and the laser starts to do different shootings automatically every second. Beep, beep, beep. 1 second, 1 shoot. Okay. If you work with 2 Hz, it means a beep, 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 beep. You go faster. So it's very important to work to 1 Hz because there are a lot of things that you have to treat while you are treating that it must be well correct. One of the different things of treating onychomycosis with laser, if we compare with another treatments, is that this treatment is made by us. Are we that are applying the treatment, so we have to do it well. Okay. Then I work with a fluency of 40 joules per centimeter square is the maximum. No, actually, you can work with more, with a higher fluency, but I work with this. When I work with higher fluency, patient feels pain, but it's well a good parameter. You can work from 36 to 40. The difference is not too much, but maybe psychologically to the patient, if they feel pain, they see that you are going down with the fluency and they feel better. Okay, but usually with these fluencies we work perfect. And my laser arrive until 40 watts. Some lasers, depending on the kind of machine that you had buy, arrive until 30. It's okay too. You can work between 30 or 40 watts. It also works because if patient feels pain, you can go and use a lower power, but never less, never lower than 30 watts, never, okay? And I say 36 joules per centimeter square. In reality, you can work from 34. But I like to use a higher parameters, okay? And patients feels better, okay? Sometimes, and you have to explain to the patient that you are working with high level. It means that we will produce an increase of the temperature in the surface of the nail and into the nail. So maybe patient can feel like a punch, you know, because of the hot. And you can use a gauze with serum, and you can apply in the surface of the nail, then you dry and you apply the laser again, and patients feels it better, okay? So we have a protocol, and it's very important, this protocol, very important, okay? If you don't do, and you don't work using this protocol, the results will not be good results for you, neither for the patient, okay? And it's very important. It's important, the first parameters I show you, these ones, because sometimes I see some podiatrists who change it and use another parameters. No, are these ones. And this is the protocol. So you have it right, and it's very important you to use everything. The first time that patient comes to your practice says, I have fungus, I want you to treat me with laser. And I say, okay, but you will do everything I say, okay? And first of all, I want to be sure that you have fungus, exactly. And what about with your food in general, okay? So you have to do a global assessment of the food, patient's food, okay? But because maybe that patients have another things that I have to control because the onychomycosis treatment gave me a good result, okay? And also in that first visit, I have to take a culture and I have a photo. And I have the patient will sing an informed consent, okay? And in that informed consent is write it and explain it, all the things that we will do, okay? And then when I have all these things, we will see. Okay, the first visit. The patient comes for the first time to your practice, and you have to see, what about this patient? What about the shoes? What about if the patient needs some orthotic or anything, because maybe they have problems on their toes? It's not the same one foot with straight toes that one foot with one tooth like this, because when they walk, they do a little traumatism at the end of the toes and at the end of the nails, and I have to control it, okay? The foot is very important because some patients use this foot for security foot because of the job they do, or maybe they have mycosis on the skin. I have to treat before the laser in the nails, because sometimes you will see that it's difficult to cure the onychomycosis in the rest of the skin that in the nails, because the nail treatment with laser, I spent 2 months to do it, to apply it, but sometimes I have to spend more time to cure the rest of the onychomycosis of the rest of the foot, you know? So actually, I never treat any onychomycosis with laser if the rest of the foot have fungus. Firstly, I treat the fungus of the rest of the foot, and then I start to treat the nails, okay? Because happens that I finish the treatment, the laser application in the nails, but the fungus on the skin continues. Then what happened? That fungus reinfect my nail. And patient says, laser doesn't function. And I say, no, laser function, but we have the treatment not well done, okay? And we have to be careful with socks, for example, what kind of socks use the patient, the type of work, the age, systemic processes who will have patients, for example, diabetic patients or patients who are very old. They used to, it's easier, they will have more complicated processes that can works at the same time with our treatment and make that our treatment will have no good result, okay? Or maybe the immunologic system of the patient, okay? Or patient that has a surgery and they have a very low or are immunocompromised, okay? All these things you have to control, okay? Then you have to be sure what kind of onychomycosis have our patient, okay? Because we will do a culture. I need to be sure that that patient has onychomycosis and not another thing. You know, as a podiatrist, that a lot of time comes one patient like this. Do you see the second picture? And sometimes I'm not sure if that patient have onychomycosis or not. And I don't want them to spend a lot of money to treat something that he haven't. I want to be sure that they have onychomycosis. And sometimes, in this case, for example, I like this picture because I explain to the patient, with your nail, at the end of the treatment, we will have a very ugly nail, but at the beginning, it was ugly with fungus. at the end of the treatment, it will be ugly without fungus. But laser doesn't make your nail will be nice. It will be ugly, okay? And it's important because patients think that at the end of the treatment, my nail will be wonderful, thin, clear, okay? And if you have a very horrible day, an onychophotic nail, at the end of the treatment, you will have the same nail, but without fungus, okay? And it's important to know what kind of onychomycosis you have, because to take sample, and to take the sample, well, take it, well done, okay? For example, in a proximal onychomycosis, the most active fungus is here, not here, okay? So you have to cut and you take the sample from here, okay? In a proximal onychomycosis, you have to take the sample from here. Then here is where the fungus is more active, not from here. Because if I take from here, maybe I have a false negative culture. Do you know what I mean? Yes or not? I think it's important for this reason I explained, okay? So at the end, we have to have a positive culture with name and surname. Okay, I have fungus, and this fungus is called Trichophytum rubrum, for example. Okay, now I can start the laser treatment if I have controlled all the other questions. This is the consent I have to sing to my patient. Bea, sorry, did I send you?
No, don't worry, I have from Yolanda. Don't worry.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, thank you so much.
I'm sorry. Well, this is my consent. This is a consent that I use for every kind of treatment with laser. I don't know if you can read it, but all these things are about low level, and these things are about high level. And then I have another page that I gave to the patient where is explain it exactly how is the treatment done, okay, and how does the patient have to do. Okay, we have a photo from the beginning. The patient comes like this because usually people has problems with the memory, and they are coming back to the practice next to the laser, and they say, this laser doesn't work. Why? Because my nail is not cured. Okay, your nail is not cured because it's growing. Okay, and from the beginning you had this nail, and with a month, while the time is going, this nail is growing up clearly. Okay, but it's important to do a photograph from the beginning. What can we see? What we must to see? Okay, we start with this picture, and while the nail is growing, the nail starts to grow clearly. And here we have a problem. Do you see? All the nail is cured, it's clearful, it's nice, okay? But here we have a problem. Maybe we have to retreat again because we have a zone with fungus, okay? And this is because we have to come back to the patient next of the application of laser, for example, every 2 months, to control what happened with the treatment, okay? And what maybe we have this problem and we have to treat again. No problem, we do it again, and that's all, okay? So when we have a positive culture and we have controlled all the risk factors, then is when we start with the laser treatment. So it will be the second visit of the patient, but the first laser session. And in that laser session, we will do a cut and mill all the nails, and we will apply laser. In every session, we will do it. Why? Because for 2 reasons, ¿vale? Vale. For 2 reasons. The first one is because in every session, we will do thinner the nail. You have fungus, imagine you have one nail like this, okay? I have fungus from here to here, okay? I apply laser here, and maybe I make all this fungus die. The next session, I mill, and I have thinner nail with fungus, I mill, apply laser, and every time I do the nail thinner, and I make that it will be easier for our laser with a very wonderful wavelengths that goes deeper and deeper. We make it easier, the treatment, okay? And also because we make that there will be not a reflection of the laser from the surface of the nail, okay? We will do it in every session, and every session will be done every 15 days too, okay? Why? Because usually the fungus we treat are dermatophytes, and the dermatophytes grows every 21 days. So we have to apply laser before they start to grow again, okay? Sometimes we can treat not dermatophyte fungus. You will see in the culture that we have a fungus that it's not a dermatophyte and they grow faster. So only in this case, you can apply laser once a week, but never before and never next to 15 days. Understood? Yeah. Once all the laser treatment is applied, we had done always the 4 sessions, because you have to explain to the patient the treatment of laser are 4 sessions always. If I have to retreat again, I will do 4 sessions again, okay? Never 1 session and then 1 session, no. All the times are 4 sessions. And this is the treatment. 1 treatment always are 4 sessions, and these sessions will be done every 15 days, okay? Here's right. It will be always 4 sessions every 15 days. We will cut and mill all the nails that we have to treat before every session. We will use always a spot of 3 millimeters. And it's important that the handpiece will be always perpendicular to the surface of the nail. Later you will see pictures. It must to be in contact to the nail. You have to touch the nail, okay? And you have to adapt to the surface of the nail, okay? And in this case, yes, it's necessary to overlap the spot areas, okay? Because the spot area is like a circle, okay? If we don't overlap, there will be zones that we will not treat. And in that zone, there are a million of fungus, okay? So we overlap, we will do the treatment overlapping 1/3 of the spot area to be sure that we are treating all the nail, okay? And we will do 4 horizontal paces and 4 vertical paces and all the perimeter of the nail. And if patient feels pain, we can use a gauze moistened with water, and we'll dry before the laser. It's very fast to do it, okay? So you have pictures here, and you will see how do I move the toe of the patient, because I all the time want that the laser will go perpendicular to the surface of the nail, okay? Do you see it? You have to move your handpiece or the toe of the patient, okay? So you have to do horizontal paces to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left, okay? You have to do it 4 times, and 4 times up and down, up and down, up and down, okay? It's not funny, but you have to do it. I do 1 pace and right to the left, and then 1 pace up and down, and then another one right to the left, and I do 4 and 4, okay? And what I explained before, we have to overlapping the spot areas to treat, to be sure that we will treat all the surface. Here, do you see that zone, that little zone? Imagine here, grow up a lot of fungus. So this is because we have to overlap the spot areas, okay? More and more and more, okay? The effects of the laser. Here we don't have to use a frozen balloon because we are treating a laser with high level because we want to increase the temperature of the fungus. We will obtain exactly a destruction of the microconidia of the fungus. The microconidia of the fungus is the reproduction system of the fungus. So at the end of the treatment, we have an alive fungus, but it's not able to reproduce. Do you understand? So with this accumulation of HOTS, we only destroy that part of the fungus and nothing more. They're not involvement of the healthy tissue, and there is no residual pain at the end of the treatment. And using this protocol, we have an 85% of cure rate, okay? So this high power allows to apply a great energy in a little time, okay, without producing damage to the healthy tissue. Yes? So you have a picture very nice here. This is those that you can see here are the microconidias, are the reproduction system of the fungus, and we want to destroy it. So we apply laser with hot and hot and hot, and we destroy it. The first investigations of the treatment of fungus here in Barcelona were done by Dr. Verrucae, and they used a special point of view to see what happened to the fungus when they applied laser, okay? And they saw that they did one shoot to the fungus and it happened nothing. They did 2 shoots to the fungus and there happened nothing. To the third shoot to the fungus, there happened nothing. And to the fourth shoot of the fungus, start to crash the reproduction system of the fungus. So this is because we have to repeat all those spaces. Do you know what I mean? And we have to do 4 sessions, okay? Here you have pictures and you will see how is at the beginning and how is the nail cured. We have to wait and we have to explain to the patient that you have this lesion, okay? And at the end of the treatment, the nail is growing, 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 and this zone will we go at the end of the nail until we cut and it disappears. Here, we will have a live fungus without capacity to reproduce. So it cannot involve the rest of the nail. Do you understand? Okay, here you have more pictures. In that case, at the end of the treatment, I was seeing that here maybe I can have a problem, but at the end of the treatment, I see that there is no problem. This zone is growing correctly. In this case too, but this patient has a very ugly nail. Well, at the end of the treatment, this patient continues having an ugly nail, but without fungus. Okay, more pictures, more pictures. In this case, for example, that was a patient with a more dark of skin. Here we are more white, okay? And I thought, what happened with laser? No, laser didn't give her any problem. And she had a lot of nails affected and a lot of toes with a lot of nails affected. And the zone affected is very high. In this case, it's all the nail. It's difficult. I thought maybe it's not possible, but in this case, it was possible. And at the end of the treatment, you see before and later, before and later, before and later. Okay, but using the protocol all the time. This toe is repeated. Okay, it's important to see the evolution, and we have to control the evolution. I say to the patients they will have to come back next to the application of the laser every 2 months if they want, but I think it's necessary to see what happened. with the treatment, and if the nail is growing correctly, we have a nail with fungus, and while it's growing, we have to see that it's growing clearly until that the nail will be better. You can do it, or you can do another culture 2 months next to the 2 months after to the application of the laser. And if that culture is negative, until you can have this nail, but with a negative culture. So you explain to the patient that this nail must grow correctly, and it's not necessary to see it to that patient every 2 months. You understand what I mean? Yes. Is everybody sleeping or not?
Can I ask a question?
One question, okay.
Is there any type of infection where you think it's too bad? Like if you believe the matrix is infected, like proximal to the eponychium, do you think you would say, I don't know if this will work, or have you always found that it works?
Laser works only for the infection of fungus. And if this infection arrives to the matrix, it's a little bit difficult. And when you apply laser, you see my mouse? Yeah. And you have to apply here, over the skin, just over the matrix nail, and patient doesn't feel pain, doesn't matter. But it's better in that cases, you have to think that you are a podiatrist and you want to obtain a good result in the lower time that it's necessary. So usually it's better to combine different treatments. You can do it, and you will obtain better results than only with laser. But only with the laser, it's possible.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
I just want to give you one example of that. I sometimes use surgery as an alternative as well as doing both together. There are certain points. So this picture is quite depth that Elizabeth's done. So if you got the one on the bottom left-hand one, you know, you could see that that's going to be really difficult to fix. You might be able to get rid of the fungus itself, but the reality is aesthetically and also physically with the nail, there's so much disruption that's happened in the nail matrix that, you know, we have to manage the expectations of the patient, because if as Elizabeth said before, if they want to go from that nail to a beautiful, you know, straight looking nail, clean and clear, the likelihood of that happening in a very short period of time is zero. So the reality is we have to manage expectations. Firstly, you need to get rid of the fungus. Then, as you quite rightly said, you need to go around the whole foot and check if there's, you know, tinea pedis infection. What is the history? Do they run? Do they do all these little things that can have a massive impact on the nail? Because they're just going to come back to you and re-infected, and they'll say, oh, your laser didn't work. Because their expectation is you do a laser session, and it doesn't matter what you charge for it, they expect that problem to never come back again. And that is the biggest problem that I have, and what anyone in that does fungal nails has. And so it's more about managing expectations, coming and trying to get the best results possible.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. You have to explain all the things to the patient at the beginning, because one time I remember a patient that asked me, and if I treat with laser, I will never have fungus in my life? Imagine the question. No, of course. If you have, I don't know, COVID, that's we have COVID. It's sure that if you have COVID one time in your life, you will never have again in your life. No, you can have it again, but you have to control a lot of things to not reinfect. This is because I said you at the beginning that you have to explain to the patient all the things that patient have to control, but you have to make the patient will be conscious, to take conscience of all the things that they have to do. Okay, you say what they have to do, but they have to do. Okay, and a lot of times all that visits that I say to the patient next to the laser session, I say you have to come back here every 2 months because I want to see. Okay, because I want to see what happened with the growing up of this nail, and also if you are controlling all the risk factors. because I don't want you to reinfect, because later you say that my laser treatment is not good, but it's not true. Okay, you have to explain it to the patient all the first day, and then they say, oof, the laser treatment, it's not so fantastic and magical. No, it's not magical. It's a good treatment. It's another treatment that we have. It works very good, but it's not good. Okay. Yeah. So we have some patients that we are not able to cure. The percentage of cure of laser onychomycosis is the 85%. So it means that we have 15% that we don't cure, and we have to explain to the patient. Okay, why? Because a lot of things. I saw next of all these years of treating patients with onychomycosis that in all these cases that you see here in the pictures, usually there are fungus, but also the patient have more things. Okay, maybe a dysbiosis in the bone. Okay, or they have another problems, but another systemic problems. And this is because in that patient works very good to combine oral treatment and laser, that are the two treatments more higher that we have. Okay, because you have to think that our laser treatment is a very higher treatment, but it's local, a local treatment. It's not a systemic treatment. Do you know what I mean? Then we have another way to treat a systemic fungus with to the patient with oral treatment. If you are using a very important treatment and the patient doesn't cure, you have to think that you are treating only this zone, but maybe the patient have problems in all his zone, you know, and you have to treat the rest. Okay, and you have to think, what do you have to do with that kind of patients? Okay, our treatment is very high, it is very good, but it's local. And sometimes we need something more. And sometimes we need to combine with oral treatment. It's true that some patients cannot use oral treatment. We have no more. We have to use another ways to arrive to do that. That patient will be better. In general, they will have better healthy. And then we can treat locally that infection. Do you know what I mean? And this is because in these cases, we have patients not cured, around the 50%, and you have to assess the general condition of the patient, okay? And maybe consider oral treatment, and if it's not possible, to look for another possibilities of treatment, okay? Here you have a picture. I don't put voice because I speak a lot. Also in the videos, I always say, let's do a video. I will not speak. And at the end, I start to speak. So I don't put voice. But you see, every shoot, I am applying laser around the nail, touching the skin. Don't worry. Okay. And then I use the gauze because patients start to feel not very good. I use the gauze with water. Then I dry it and I continue. Okay, there are patients who doesn't feel pain and patients who feel pains from the first shoot. Okay, you go faster or not faster, but you have to do it like this. Okay. So the contraindications of the laser. I never treat a patient who is doing an oncological treatment. Never. Okay. At one time I asked in my beginnings, why not? If a patient have cancer, I don't know, here up, I don't know, in one hand, why cannot I use laser in the foot? And the answer were, you don't know. The answer was, you don't know if you have a cell traveling to the body and arrive to the foot, and you are shooting with laser. You will have stimulated. So never use laser with a treatment, with a patient who is doing an oncological treatment. When patient finish that treatment, you ask to the oncologic doctor if you can do it. And you work sure. Okay. Usually we say that don't use laser when there are braids down the nail, basically because patient feels a lot of pain. Okay. And remember, never use the frozen balloon to that zone because we destroy the fungus because of the chemical effect. If you cool that zone, the laser will not work. Okay. And in pregnant woman, we don't use it laser because there are no scientific articles that say that laser is not or is safe for that woman. And as pregnancy is not forever, when that woman will not pregnancy, we can use it. Okay. Imagine that you have a very ugly patient that have a problem with her baby, and she said that it's because you had done laser. You have nothing to defend you, okay? Scientifically speaking. Do you understand? Of course, you can combine laser with other treatments. Here we have these treatments I write you. I don't know in England what you have, but usually the medication, maybe it's the same with another name, okay? I use a combination of treatments when I have a lot of nails affected, and this nail is affected, all the surface of that nail is affected, okay? And because I want to obtain a very good results. The oral treatment, I use it when the laser treatment doesn't work from the first 4 sessions, okay? And you see nothing, any problem, and you know that that patient has more things, more illness that can make that the global situation will be a little problem for us, okay? In that case, if I can, I use oral treatment, but usually we combine topical treatment and laser, okay? It's good. But if patient doesn't want, okay, with only laser, yeah, that's all. But you have to know that if we combine different treatments, increases the possibility of cure, okay? And if you use laser, works correctly, only with laser we have 80% of possibilities of cure. So imagine if we use another treatments at the same time, okay? And I don't have to explain you what about the unwanted effects of the antifungal medication. You have to know it, and this is the reason because laser is a very funny option that we have in our practices to use it, okay? Remember that laser is applied by you, and you have to do it perfect because all these treatments you see here are applied by the patient. And usually we say to the patient, you don't do it well. And the problem is because you don't do it well. Okay, when we apply laser, we have to do it well because we are who applied that treatment, okay? And it's important you to know it. Okay, well, that's all. This is all the information of high level of today. More questions? Everybody's sleeping. Or not?
That was great.
I don't see faces. I don't see faces. Hello, everybody.
I think, sorry, you know, there's a lot of information to take in.
A lot of, yeah, sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of information to take in into this. You know, it's there's a lot to do. I suppose if you don't have the laser in front of you, also it makes it a little bit more difficult. But trust me on this one. What as Elizabeth explained, and if you just do the same protocols, physically I can also jump in on when you get your lasers. If I have to, I'll come around and see you guys as well. We will literally do it together so that you get complete confidence in using it. And the reality is that once you use it, then you'll see the results. I mean, I know Craig just walked out, but Craig did the same thing, and you can see how those guys in Newcastle Foot Clinic are doing it now. It's incredible that they've just taken it on board and just trusted the process. You will get magic results. I'm not even joking. Some of it, You know, you'll also get your bad ones. That's life. You know, we're not gods. We're not miracle workers. But the reality is, this technology is very high. It's better than any kind of, well, for me, better than any other laser out there, results wise as well as technology wise. And it's only going to get better. And I think with the fact that we can do so many different types of treatment with it is the key thing. You know, you can use that machine on so many different things. It's incredible. And when you start doing, you know, onychomycosis is great, verrucas are great. There are your kind of like base things that you do. But when you start treating corns and neurovascular stuff, that's when you go to a different level. It's like
Yes.
incredible, isn't it? How good the results are. I mean, it took me lots of years to trust that process. I don't do it as much as I used to. Even now, I don't do as much as I stood to, but the next 2 or 3 years, that's where I'm going to concentrate on more, because I know that's where you get really good results. And, you know, and also as a product and as a business plan, it's a no-brainer, because you can use it and you'll have loads and loads of different income sources from it. And so, you know, and you get results. You know, as clinicians, that's our number one thing, is to make sure we get good results.
Yeah,
So,
I want to say only one thing, that, for example, to the treatment of the corns, and that corns I show you with fibrotic tissue at the end, okay, that doesn't disappear if you use insoles and patient feels pain and pain and pain. And using insoles, the patient have to come to your practice every 3 weeks. And the only treatment was a surgical treatment. Our laser gave us the possibility to treat that patients without a surgical treatment and without pain. It's incredible, okay? I think that the most incredible treatment with our laser are the corns treatments, but also the warts, the onychomycosis, because it gave us another ways to treat. And it makes that, it makes we makes different to the other podiatrist, because we have options that the other doesn't have, okay? I think it's important, actually.
Sorry, can I ask, with warts, the average sessions is about 4, but with corns, is it just a one-off treatment, or do you have to do about 4 as well?
Corns?
Yeah.
I think usually the number of sessions are 2 or 3.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. I show you some pictures that I need a lot of sessions as 8, but it's not usual. The most usual is 2, 3, sometimes 1. It's spectacular.
yeah, I do 3 once a month.
Once a month.
3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
once a month.
Depending of the corn.
But you must offload. It's
Yeah.
key. You must offload at the same time. You can't just do the laser and it will disappear. You need to offload the area as well.
Okay, thank you.
What is the difference, like, between this type of laser and, say, like the K laser?
I think it's a wavelength.
Okay.
K laser have less wavelengths than us.
Okay.
And remember that I show you that the wavelengths give you the deeper, okay, and the diameter tissue is different. You with a K laser works with less power.
Okay.
And I think they don't work with high level. They say it, but it's not true.
Okay.
So they obtain a biostimulative effect. So imagine if you apply a biostimulative effect over a fungus, a nail with fungus. Wonderful, no?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of research they're pushing the K laser a lot at the moment, especially talking about with podiatrists when they're saying to people, you know, we can treat fungus, we can treat warts and stuff. The reality, when I look at that when I've used the K laser before and I've tested it out, the reality I say that was an MSK laser. It was built for MSK treatments.
Okay.
And then what they're doing now is saying, oh yeah, actually it works on this and that. Whereas the difference with the Podylas, it was built for these treatments. It was actually made from the start for this treatment. And it's not
Yes.
something that we do something else and then something go, oh, actually it works for this. And you'll find that all the others do the same thing, right? That all the other lasers are doing the same things. That's why they come to conferences like K-laser. It's not really a podiatry laser. It's probably more for physios and osteopaths and stuff. But the reality is, podiatry is not going to be treating the shoulder or the tennis elbows and stuff.
Yeah.
But they're bringing it into the market because of that one reason.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, and you have to think also that if you work with a laser with a lower power, to treat, for example, a corn or a verruca, you have to apply more energy for a long time over the skin. Okay, so what I explained you before, if you blow the pulse, you have to increase the number of shoots, but you are working with with 30 watts. You work with 20 watts. You have to applying laser for 1 second or 1 second and a half over that zone. Imagine how many damage or pain can feel the patient. And at the end, you will not obtain a thermic effect. You obtain a stimulative effect.
No, that's cool. Thanks.
They're doing the same thing with the MLS laser. They're coming out with stuff like they do fungal nails and verrucas with MLS laser and stuff. All lasers are good. They will have a certain amount of damage or create a change in the structure of your foot or in your skin or in a verruca or a corn. But it's not tested for that treatment. For me, it doesn't work. Maybe I'm just a bit biased anyway now, but the reality is that the only laser on the market right now that is being proven and also has lots of studies done on it is this one. And these guys in Spain, they've been doing it. I've had it for 9-10 years. If Elizabeth's had it for around that time, they've been doing it. I think they started 2 years before I bought my laser. And so there's a lot more history now that we have, even though we don't see it in England because I'm not in Spain. So I need to go over there and pick up more and more case studies, get some stuff from them, and I'll go see them soon. But the reality is, I think they've got more information than we will ever get yet. But I will try and get that to you guys as well, because we do need evidence-based. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone wants evidence-based practice. So the reality is, lasers are very, very. It's a young generation right now. We're only 10 years into it. It's nothing in the world of medicine. For you to get proper studies done, it takes 20-30 years for you to get the results. So the reality is we're still at the bottom and it's only going to get better. So yeah, the more people that take it, the more people do it, the better it's for all of us.
That was cool. Makes sense. Thanks very much. It was a great presentation, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much.
It's some good CPD here. So is there any final questions for Elizabeth for this round?
If you want, and if you don't have question right now, and in 1 week you start to think, then appear new questions, as the next week we see us again, you can try to ask again, okay? Here you have my mail. And if you need any question, you can ask me, but Aaron also knows a lot. And he asks you, of course, absolutely correctly. And if there is no more questions, we see us the next week. The next week, I tell you about low level, and you will see how many things can you do with our laser. And you will see that with this laser, it's very nearly impossible to work in our practice. I'm not able to work without laser in my practice, and you will see the next week why. Because you will see all the things that we can treat with that laser, okay? I hope you to like this presentation, and I hope you will take all the information correctly. I hope it, because it's important. And we see us next week, okay?
Muchas gracias.
De nada.
Adiós.
Adios.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Really appreciate that.
Adiós, Elisa. Gracias.
Okay, thank you. We'll confirm the timing for next week.
Yeah, we'll do
Okay.
that.
Good.
Thanks.